What do we know about death, if anything at all? And if we do not fully understand or even accept death, how can we possibly understand and accept life? Today's guest has a direct experience with this subject because, truth be told, she is dying. Eugenia has been diagnosed with a critical illness, and doctors say that she might just have a few months left to live. Yes, I know, in our current society, people do not talk about death that openly. Yet, this is exactly why Eugenia Gajardo is here with us today. She wants to inspire a conversation about death just the way we talk about life. Welcome to the Timeless Teachings podcast. My name is Yana, and I'm your guide into the world of spirituality, mysticism, and consciousness. Each episode, we will dive into deep and often rather controversial subjects. The guests are encouraged to speak their minds and hearts freely and share their most authentic life experiences, teachings, and realizations. If you haven't done it yet, do press the subscribe button, share this episode with friends, and support us on Patreon. Let's rise together and create a world that celebrates wisdom, compassion, equality, vulnerability, and truth. I have met Eugenia Gajardo about 10 years ago when I just moved to Singapore, and she immediately struck me as someone full of life, full of genuine curiosity, and full of fierce passion. This one is a fighter, I thought to myself, being amazed by the vitality of her spirit. If I only knew how true it is. A few years ago, Eugenia was diagnosed with a certain type of lung disease that put a real clock on her time on Earth. As we are recording this episode, we don't know how much longer she will be staying with us in a physical form. Hence, this is the first episode to release here, a celebration of life and death. Let's welcome Eugenia Gajardo, an artist, a counselor, a psychotherapist, a painter, a friend, a mother, a life lover, and a lifelong learner. Eugenia, thank you for the time and for coming here today. And I just want to go straight into this and tell to everyone who is going to be listening to us and our conversation that I have had personally the most incredible experience with you just recently, where you did a celebration of life and death, which pretty much was like an online funeral, but you said in your own words that people usually do after a person passes away. And you decided to do this now, when you're here, when you're present. And I just would like you to share what was going on inside of you when you realized that this is how you want to celebrate your life at the very end of it.
That's a very good question. Well, first, thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here and really a joy to know that you're interested and other people also are interested, because life and death is what we have from the time we're born until we die. Those two ends define us. We're born, and when we are born, we already are beginning to walk straight towards death. So that is really what was going on in my mind, that knowing, and we celebrate birth. We are so happy when somebody's born. And that child becomes a teenager and becomes an adult and arrive to a level of maturity, and then they become old. And if they have not died before at any point, then they will die. And at that point, we don't celebrate. We mourn. And that does not make sense to me. when I go to a funeral and we are mourning the departure of the person. And it's all about, I am sad because they're not here anymore. And let me tell you how wonderful this person was. And on the most beautiful ones, when they are very honest, as they say, also the naughty traits, oh, but he was so stubborn, or oh, he has such a short temper, oh my goodness, and that makes it very real, not just the positives, but also the things that would irk us when they were around. But there is no laughter. There is a somber mood, and the person is in a box generally, not really looking like they were looking, but they're like waxed, you know. And there is no joy. There is all very serious and very sad. And yes, there are some funerals that people relax a bit and then they reminisce a bit on a table. But the person gone is not there. And I was inspired by, I think I saw somewhere, uh, actually, I remember exactly, there was this um, Australian scientist that wanted to do euthanasia in Australia and was not allowed. And I had planned to go to Switzerland to do euthanasia and then voluntary assisted death because I saw no purpose for me to do the full run. It's not necessary for me to go into the last stages of my illness, which are pretty, uh, you know, they're pretty undignified, to say the least, because I'm going to die anyway. So let me die with dignity before at the point of my choice. So there were all these different strands of thought, these different important considerations. And then this man in Australia appeared when I was researching on euthanasia, and he celebrated before he went to Switzerland to do his euthanasia. He went to all the places in France or in Switzerland, I can't recall the details, where he had lived at his childhood. And this man had, I think, 4 children. So he had lots of grandchildren and went to great grandchildren and went to see all that. And he opened it to the press. So it was extremely inspiring because he was not ill. He had nothing. He was 104 years old, but was healthy. And then everybody was with him. He was with the press just as he stepped in to do the process. And there was such joy and peace in him. I've lived a full life. There is no point for me to get to the point that I'm unable to walk and do anything. I've had enough, you know? So that was inspiring. That was one. And the other one is David Pan from Tang, the boutique, the China Club, he was pretty much on the A-lister in the world, in the glamour world. And he prepared a party inviting all of his friends around the world to celebrate his life. And he had a liver cancer. And he had everything ready, everything. And he died 3 days before the party. So, oh, I thought that's a real tragedy.
It
You know,
is.
It's really, honestly, I mean, the universe can play, it really can play the cards really. I mean, you almost, I almost feel like saying, not fair, I mean, what a tragedy. So that was a point of reference. And I had done quite a lot of research on living and dying, and I saw a couple of people that had a little party at the hospital. When they knew they were going to die, and invited their friends, 5, 6, 7 people, and yeah. So all of that, and I had about 4 years ago, I started preparing my daughter. But I didn't know I was preparing her. I had no idea, but I knew I'm going to die one day. So we'll go to somebody's funeral, and I'll have a running commentary. Oh, darling, I would like to have paintings on the wall. And, oh, you have to have really good music. Some jazz would be nice, you know. And she said, you're so boring, Mom. I said, no. I said, look at this. So sad. And please, good food. You make sure you order good food so everybody gets really good food. I mean, what is with this peanuts?
So you were preparing in advance. I mean, you were preparing actually even before life brought you in this situation.
Way before. I said, what about this peanut? I said, you have to make sure they're really lovely yummies, and champagne. You got to celebrate. You got to celebrate.
You got to celebrate, yeah.
You got to celebrate.
You got to celebrate.
That I've lived, And then she will call me morbid and whatever. And I did that. Not that we went to many funerals, but we went to some. And I will go to a funeral of a friend, and I will have the running commentary inside my head. I would like to have this, but I always was thinking after I'm dead, my funeral, which she will organize. Yeah, when I'm gone. I want it this way. But at one point, that shifted.
What happened? Was there something in specific?
Yes, when I went to the funeral of Terry Hill in Perth when he died, and it was a beautiful, beautiful funeral. They had a funeral organizer, and they were just like doing any event. Every little detail was looked after. Even the tissue papers, they were everywhere, the little packed tissue papers, and they had a logo and a couple of little words. It was all very taken care of. The beautiful baskets with water and the flowers, everything was so beautiful. And about 8 people spoke about everything, a broad range of connections of people. And I thought, how sad. Not here. And there it struck me. I said, no, I want to be here. What's the point? Why are we doing this useless event? He's not there. He goes inside and the boxes appeared, and we could even see the fire coming out.
Yeah.
No sense. it made no sense at all. These beautiful people that loved him, cared for him, respected him. Some knew him professionally, some were close friends. And he's not there to interact.
And that was the turning point.
I said,
when you said you want to be here, you want to be present for the
I
celebration.
want to be here. I want to be present. Yeah. Yeah. I want to be present. Let me, it's so, that shift.
Yes, that shift.
And then I started talking about it.
I was just going to ask how did you prepare people around you for that?
I began to give me a little second.
Sure. What we did not say to the people who are listening, that actually the disease that you are working with, in your own words, right? Remember, you mentioned this, you're not going to fight it, you're going to work with this. You mentioned that to me when we saw each other, that actually it is a lung disease. So it brings this difficulty of breathing and talking, I'm sure. And so I just feel an immense gratitude, Eugenia, to even want to do this. That you are here, you want to share. And
I
also,
do.
We did not tell people actually.
I do.
We don't know how much time is left. That's the other thing, right? I mean, it could literally, like, I don't want to put any time frame to this, but it's like any moment in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And
I got quiet for a moment. I stabilized. I had a mouth with the morphine because this is for the breathlessness.
Yeah.
And now I'm back okay.
Yeah.
So we were saying,
you were preparing people, right?
Yeah,
so you came to this idea, you want to do this, but then you have daughter, you have friends who probably have never been to such experience.
Yes. So I began to say, okay, I need to an event organizer.
That's a good one.
Because I'm going to, I'm leading, but I'm not going to do the work myself. I mean, I couldn't. It would be completely impossible. So, and I wouldn't want to because it's going to be my pre-death funeral. And I started talking to people, and actually, they loved it.
Yes.
They loved it. They thought, oh my God, this is cool, man. Let's do it. Don't you worry, we'll take care of everything. And then began also to a sensitive part because I knew exactly what I wanted. And I was not going to negotiate any.
So what did you want? Can you give like the highlight? What was that you really wanted?
It's a feeling. I mean, I wanted something that represents who I am. So the venue will have to be and feel like my own home. With the carpets on the floors, the paintings on the walls, and accessories around it, so that of those people, not everybody probably would have been in my home, but likely many of them, and the ones that would have, they would connect with the objects that would be there. And say, oh, that's from Eugenia, so from the studio.
Yes, and
because
I
have
see the
my
painting in the
studio.
background, right? Not everyone knows that
Absolutely.
you're a painter. So we're saying it. And actually, the most incredible part,
Yes.
Eugenia, I mean, you are a woman of many hats, literally. But I must
Yeah.
say, one of the most incredible things, you also started painting at what age?
I was okay. So I'm 58 now, and I started in 2014. So that's 6 years ago. So I must have been 62.
It's at the age of 62.
Yeah.
You decided that you want to become a painter,
Yes, and I did.
and you did exactly with the
Yes.
exhibitions and everything.
Yes. And a book.
And the book, and now you are
Working on the
finishing the
second
second
book.
book, right? That you want to finish now. So I'm definitely waiting for that. It's the second becoming.
Yeah, yeah. So I knew exactly what I wanted. And I wanted to launch, to give every guest the box with the two books, the first and the second. So I started working on the second book. And then I knew I wanted beautiful food, and I wanted, for me, feeling
Mm-hmm.
where everything lies, because we don't remember a lot of things, but we remember how we felt
Yeah.
in a particular time. And I wanted that to be very much uh, a priority, because that's what I am all about.
You are about feelings. That's true.
Yeah,
You are.
yeah. And yet I can be so practical, so pragmatic, so uh, direct, etc. But that is, yeah,
Yeah.
the base, the foundation is a feeling foundation. And then I think it.
Yeah.
But first I feel it.
Well, you brought it
So,
up. Sorry, yeah,
yeah,
say it. Yeah.
yeah. So that was very important, that whoever was an event organizer or whoever was directing, that would understand that part of me. So they would be able to create it with me, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And I have done events before. I mean, I have done fundraising events, I've done balls, I've done a lot, uh, a lot of things in my past lives. And so, fortunately, I have the experience. And always that was, for me, the key, the element of surprise, the element of, of community, of bringing people together, of connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
That's also very important, that people connect, because that's all we have. We just have each other.
Yeah.
We don't have anything else. All your house can be burned and everything can go, and you can be stripped to nothing to have. But if you have connection with other human beings, you will be okay. You need to have, I need to have that connection. It's fundamental for me. It's more important than anything else, to feel connected. And so I connect with many different people. That is one thing. And I don't belong to any one tribe. But those are my peculiarities.
I can resonate with this, but yes.
Most people have a tribe and belong to that tribe, and they're there in that tribe. But some people are like me, that I have many tribes. I float in and out. There are pros and cons into it, and I connect the tribes. I like to connect the peacock tribe with the duck tribe and the chicken tribe, and they're all birds, but they're all different. And that gives me great joy to do that. And before I did it unconsciously, now I look on hindsight and I understand it intellectually. Yeah.
And that's
So,
actually, I was coming
yes.
to my next question. When you look since you started it, when you look in the hindsight and you probably start looking at your life, I'm sure you have been doing it for a while. And I know you because you also the work you have been doing for many years, right? With the psychotherapy and supporting people and counseling. If I could ask you, what are your biggest realizations, for the lack of the better words. I can't find a better word right now. So what are your biggest realizations, aha moments, something that really stands out from you, from your life, when you just look back at it? Something that really, something you really remember. As you said, we remember the feelings, right? Something that you really remember. Something that shaped you greatly to be who you are. And I'm sure there is a lot, right? Exactly. I'm sure there's a lot. But
Yes.
it's maybe one
Yes.
two, if you would share.
Yes. I mean, I think the realization that I am loved and I am enough,
Mm.
to really integrate that into my being and to really look and and know it very deep inside that exactly the way I am, with all my flaws, I am loved and I am enough, just the way I am. That is freaking awesome.
And I can feel it. Even now when you're sharing it, I can feel it. And I also felt it during the celebration because,
And I feel it very deeply.
yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Feel that. And I feel you have this gift of also sharing it with other people because you feel it so deeply. Yeah.
Yeah.
And during this event, right, we were talking about celebration of life and death, and you were saying that it was originally planned to be a physical event, and then pandemic happened, and there are many other things happened in 2020, and it ended up being a Zoom event. And it's very interesting what he said, when connection is so important. And sometimes people say, well, how can you connect over the internet? I mean, is it really that real? Can you really be that present?
Whoa.
Right? And that was an event.
Mind blowing, because the screen disappears.
Yeah.
Like now,
Yeah.
you're there. That there is a screen around it makes zero difference to me. I can feel you. The only thing I cannot do is touch you physically, but I can touch you emotionally,
And you are doing it. Yeah.
and you can touch me. You just did. You're doing it. Yeah, yeah. So we have to put the intellect aside to do that. We have to put the intellect aside. We have to put the judgment aside to do that. We have to put the judgment aside. And we just have to feel and allow ourselves to go into that space. And the interesting part is that it's a safe space. It's even safer than being face to face.
Yeah, that's actually is.
You can mute it. You can stop the video. You can't do that face to face. It's all an illusion, but it's a very dangerous tool, because feeling and touching are connected. So we can hide behind the screen also. So, like all things, they have a light side and they have a dark side. But I choose to live in the light side, but without losing contact with the dark side. Why? Well, because I have a dark side inside of me. What? If I lose contact with the dark side, I'll be in La La Land, in a land of fantasy and no realism, in a land of dreaming but no pragmatism. And to survive in this world, I need both. I need both. And if I don't have the dark, how do I know the light? And if I don't suffer in the darkness, how can I have joy in the lightness of being? They are a continuum. I'm not interested. Heaven for me, I'm going to tread carefully with this one. But,
Please be honest, because I know you stand on that one.
It's not attractive to me at all. Heaven is not attractive to me. It has nothing attractive. To be in a place that everything is perfect forever after, I'll die of boredom. What? You mean nobody? This all light and perfection? Are you kidding me? What have made my life colorful, interesting? The reason I've grown, I've evolved, is because there is pain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how would I know the light? And if you give me all light, leave me on this earth, I can manage it. So I don't find heaven attractive. And you mean if? Oh no, I have to stop.
No, you're doing beautiful. I'm loving you being you. This is the most important thing.
If I go to another heaven, other than the Christian heaven, you just provoke me. I got to be a virgin for somebody else to take me? Are you kidding? They say, here, this is man needs 21. You are the 21st. Ah! Put me back. With all respect, with deep, profound respect. But this is how my mind, and this is what it is for me. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. That's what it is for me. So that gives me a tremendous amount of acceptance.
Which was the next question actually I wanted to ask, right? Being again in a situation you are right now and dealing, I think probably also physically, emotionally with a lot of things, I can only imagine that some days are better than others. And what you said, the duality, maybe even throughout the day, maybe mornings are not as optimal, for example, maybe better in the afternoon. So I don't know the schedule, right? But you have to deal with all of this. How do you do that, Eugenia? How do you do that? And also showing up for the interview here with all those, cheerful smile and being very charming and celebrating life. How do you do that?
Give me a little minute.
Yes, and I'm giving you a moment to process all of this and for the body also to process, because clearly this is what it is doing right now. And I just want to say from my side, I'm absolutely in love with you. Can I just say it out open here? And the most bizarre thing, can I tell you what I have realized while you're getting your moments, to do what you need to do? I realized I actually lost about 5 years with you without even seeing it. Because you and I connected when I just moved to Singapore about 10 years ago, and it was a wonderful connection from the very beginning. So we did connect it. And then something else happened, and I don't know, the life just took on and went into the other direction. I haven't seen you for about 5 years until actually I saw, ironically on social media, so out of all places, that you are where you are right now and you are celebrating this. And
how do I do it?
Yes, exactly. And so my question is, how do you actually do that?
Just like what I did now. I'm in a space It comes, whether it's a feet, the sadness. The sadness is normally after the feet or after I've gone breathless. And after that episode, I'm emotionally drained, and then deep I I slide into a hole of sadness. But in my mind, I know two things. One, I accept it. I know I do. I embrace it. It is part of the process. Yeah. And two, this too shall pass. If I write it, it will pass. But I have no agenda on how it will pass. I may end up dead or asphyxiated or dead. That's it, one of the same. Or I may cross that river. The idea is to cross the river and come out on the other side. But I'm not grasping. I am moving with that flow. And I have a very, very strong mind because I've trained it over a long time. I have a very strong mind, very, very strong mind. But I know that at one point it might not be strong enough for what is required at that moment. Because sometimes in those moments, it's like, climbing a mountain with glass and I have no gloves. So it's very tough. My hands are bleeding. And if I let go, I rest. But if I let go, I'm finished. So it's a difficult choice at those moments. And when I'm so tired emotionally, it would be easier to let go. But I don't so far. Yeah. So the mind is extremely strong, but no mind is 100% strong because we are in the human condition. But every time I get through, and when I get through, it's over.
Like right now.
Like right now, it's past, it's finished. I'm not wallowing about, oh my God, did you see my face when I was coughing? Oh my God, what are they going to think? Oh my God, that was why me. Oh, forget it. I'm so grateful I'm here. I don't waste my time with nonsense. I have no time to waste. I only have time to live. But for people, what I've just done is incomprehensible. So what I'm noticing, which is very difficult for me, is that there are some people that are beginning not to believe me. That my experience is actually true.
You are kidding.
No, I'm not.
Serious?
I'm totally serious. Because how can you do that? It's almost superhuman.
Yeah.
How can you be in a fit like patty on the floor, having this horrendous asphyxiating experience, totally powerless at that moment. I'm breathless, gasping. And then somehow something happens, and then it's over, and I just get on with it. What? It cannot be true. How can you switch from this to this? Your experience is not real. It cannot be real. You're pretending, or you are lying, or you are, it's not possible. Or you're being a drama queen, or something. That can't be true. You can't do that. Mm. Very interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. And also, I feel it speaks so much what you just shared before about, you mentioned your light and darkness, it's the duality, right? What we say, the duality of the world. And you took a stand. I mean, you are taking a stand. It's not,
Yes.
you are doing it. You are
Yes.
taking a stand.
Yeah, I'm living it.
Right? You're doing it publicly. You're very open because like we connected also on social media, and
Yeah.
you're very open. You share things that people never share. You know, even when they are the most vibrant and healthy selves, they still try to hide this part of themselves. So you are really being an incredibly open right now with the entire world about everything.
Totally.
And I don't know, I guess that's the nature of reality. I want you to say it's sad, but I don't know. Is it sad? Maybe is it just what is? When you take a stand, it comes from both sides. There are people who would coming from the light and who would absolutely love and adore and support, right? And he would say it's amazing and they want to do events with you together.
Yes.
And there will be people who would come from the darkness and say, you are pretending. It is not true. You're a drama queen. Right? It's rubbish. Right?
What are you trying to
this
do?
is what just the world is. We are living in right now.
Exactly. Just seeking attention. Yeah, but it happens from, it actually happens sometimes from people who are the closest to you. Exclude my daughter from the equation, please.
Of course.
Yeah. So that is interesting because it's an observation. And the tragedy is that it's a very valid one. Because it's it's a valid one. Because it's very hard. There are no points of reference. Yeah. There are no points of reference. There is nothing much, or what is there to compare with is not supportive of your state and what's happening to you, is supportive of their belief system. That is not possible. Yeah. Because in their experience, is never, what existed is a normal. Yeah, but it didn't exist what is not normal, and there is no space for the openness in the mind.
Yet, even though you are creating it with everything that you do, and I can see already now there are those ripple effects, even from people who don't know you, that I can see how whatever you're doing right now and being this example, you are a living example of it. And you know, there is this, I don't remember, unfortunately, the name of the person, but there is this very famous example in sports, actually, that there was a guy who, they were doing like a short distance running, right? So there are a certain number of seconds that you do this. That was the world record. And apparently no one was able to ever beat it. And then something happens, and there was one person who somehow managed to drastically reduce that number of seconds for the world record. And the most amazing part was not even that he did it, but once it happens once and people actually saw it, then all other generations of sports people were able to do it even better and better and better, introducing more and more and more, because in the human mind, it is possible. And that is exactly what you're doing right now, Eugenia.
Wow, how beautifully put, Yana. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's amazing.
Yeah,
but
amazing.
I thank you, my sweetheart. I take it with open arms. But it is true what you're saying, and that is exactly why it is important for me to talk as much as I can while I can, because my desire, my intention is to demystify death.
Yes.
I want people to open that conversation and to begin to consider celebrating their life before they die rather than mourning. at
Yes.
death
Yes, we
when
should.
somebody's gone.
Yes.
But to begin to feel happy that they met them, happy that they had them in their life, happy that they had that opportunity, that beautiful journey with them, rather than grasping a huge sense of loss, which they haven't lost because it's all an illusion. That person is inside the head. Way after I'm dead, you are going to remember sometime Eugenia says, "Oh, this painting," because you have one of them.
Yes.
Eugenia, and a flood of memories will come. I live in your head.
Exactly. And actually, the painting I have from you, I think it is about the duality. It is lightness and darkness. That's the painting that I have.
That would be interesting because I don't remember. But yes, I live in your head. I will never go away
That's absolutely sure.
unless you push me out. But if you don't push me out, I live there.
You live in my heart, not in my head. But I remember, of course, I will remember memories, but it's what you said, it is the feeling, right?
Yes.
So it's the feeling that people remember.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And you may close your eyes and you might see me.
Yeah.
And you might see me like I'm now, like when you came, which I love to write. I love to read what you wrote. It was so beautiful. It was really so eloquent. And really so I was there, so I lived through your words one more time, the moment, and when you said that, didn't know what to expect.
Yes, that's true. When I come to see you after not seeing you for 5 years, I thought, do I supposed to, be sad, tiptoe, right? Like, how do I talk to you? And
yeah, because that's what normally people expect when they come and see me, if they haven't seen me for a while. They say, but you don't look sick. Well, do I have to look sick?
Yeah.
I don't feel sick. Yeah, I don't feel.
This is it.
Yeah. I don't identify.
That's it. That's the word. I was looking at the word. This is the word because of the mind. You don't identify. And it's also what you said. You told me this when I came to see you. You do not identify with your illness. And that's why you're able to do what you do right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So all of that comes together to become the images that you may one day have when you remember me. And you pick up, depends on what is the moment in your life, you pick up memories of me, and so technically I will live in your head, in your heart, yes. But the heart is figuratively, because if you have a heart transplant, the feelings don't go with you.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
You don't get the feeling of another person. So, if you know what I mean.
Do they do like a mind transplant? Can you do that? Right? They say that sometimes it's possible to just transfer all of this.
Yeah. So, but yes. In pragmatically, the feelings are in the head. Yeah. But symbolically, of course, they are in the heart, because the heart changes its dynamic as feelings change in the head. Faster, slower, all the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system, etc. Yeah.
And I love how you say that that's what you're doing right now, that you would like to demystify death for people, and that they become more accepting.
A conversation.
Right?
To start a conversation.
Conversation, yes.
Yeah,
a conversation.
That's all. What they become, wonderful if they become accepting, but that would be divine, because you have to be accepting in order to be able to imbibe something, open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if they start a conversation, even if the conversation is negative, oh, she's really crazy. What do you think? You know what she's doing? I mean, honestly, what ridiculous thing. That's a conversation. That is a conversation. And I am glad to trigger that conversation. Because before there was no conversation at all.
Yeah.
You know, I can come home and say, oh, I was at a friend's house and gosh, that was absurd. The other person will say something. Oh, yeah, that's morbid. And something started. Or they may say, oh, what else was said? Well, you know, this thing about funeral before death. A funeral, you know? What?
I mean, you're definitely bringing a lot of people out of their comfort zone. It was very good. Yeah.
And that was the same attitude when I did my first exhibition. You know, after I passed the idea over a couple of people, one of them who meant a lot to me, Yola Lenzi, who is knowledgeable, I respect her. Yes, she's a specialist in Asian art, but you don't need to be a specialist on anything to tell me whether I'm delusional or not, you know, in my art. And I said, please tell me the truth, because if you think my art is crap, I won't do an exhibition. I can't see it because I'm too close, you know. And she said, okay, let me see a collection of 13 pieces, 12, 13 pieces, and I will tell you. And then she wrote me a whole page that short, it says, no, you're not crazy. Go ahead, do it. And that for me was enough. That's all I needed. But not people I knew her closely, but I know that she will give it to me exactly the way it is. Because that's how she does it. You know, she does it like that. And I respect her because of that.
Yeah, that's what we appreciate in people. Yeah.
Other people, teachers and all that, yeah, they're on my side. You know, they're on my side. She would not. She would be objective. So once she told me that, I went and did it. And if I like the painting, you know, I'm looking at one that I love that is in front of me. If I like the painting, I don't care if anybody else does. I couldn't care less whether other people like it or not. I like it. But if I don't like it, I will not exhibit it. I will not exhibit it. Why? Because I don't like it.
I feel there's so much truth in this.
However, I had in my studio a pie called rubbish.
Okay.
And in that pie, I put all the pieces that for me are rubbish. And then I either paint over them or I just leave them there. And I've had at least a half a dozen people who's gone in that rubbish pile and walks out with something. And the first time I absolutely objected and I refused to sell the painting. It's not finished, it's rubbish, and I didn't do it. I did not sell the painting. I still have it. And then it happened again. And that time I said, why am I making it about me?
This is exactly what I was going to say. That's
why
beautiful.
Am I making it about me? This is not about me. This is about the person who is looking at the piece. And once I put it in the rubbish, I let it go. So why does it bother you that somebody else picks it up? That's inquiry, you know, and that process I do a lot until today. Not a lot, but I do. I used to do a lot more. And then I will answer myself. I said, because of my ego. Yeah. I said, but this is not about you. I said, yeah, okay, I get it. So they asked me how much I tell them pay, and I'm happy.
I feel it's so beautiful, Eugenia, what you just shared right now. And that's the story of the human life, right? So as people, like I am, we all are, it's making it often about us. And I just feel that what you are showing here also with your journey and the stand that you are taking for your life and how you're celebrating this transition, that's probably actually exactly it. You're showing that it is not about I in that sense, whatever this I is. It's about life. And life comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's whether I wants to stay or not, no one cares. Life comes and goes. And I just have to add also, because I'm amazed by you on many levels, and you know this, but I also feel, to me, it's kind of a little bit almost funny and ironical, but I just love this non-dual contrast about you, because I still remember when I came and saw you for coffee just like recently, right? And you pretty much told me you're an essayist. That was the funniest thing of all. When I started something about the soul and spirit, and you're like, darling, I don't believe in any of that bullshit. I'm like, okay. So, however, so why I'm bringing it up right now, I feel everything that you are sharing about life and death is just so mystical. And the foundation of the mystical teachings of probably all major schools all over the world. And especially when we talk about life and death and transitioning from life to death, this is it. When you're at peace, when you're accepting, this is it. That's the whole thing. When you're not identifying with the body, right? So, and I'm like, she's the most spiritual essayist I have ever met in my life so far. And I'm just celebrating with you, because I think it's phenomenal, and it shows this non-dual part of you. Like, I understand what you say when you say that you don't believe in all of this, and at the same time, you are a living embodiment of that, which is really beautiful to see. So, congratulations to that one. I just had to say that.
It keeps me sane. It keeps me grounded.
Keeps you sane and grounded.
One of the things I've been terrified about is to become arrogant. I fear arrogance, and I know I have experienced it in me. So it's when the ego gets into that state, we tend to lose ourselves. I feel emotion. I mean, this moment, because arrogance freaked me out. As I've lived it and experienced it in other people, is pretty destructive. And I've, because of my background and my history, there is a tendency because it's connected to self-worth. Yeah. So I've always feared and avoided to, or rather, I have endeavored to remain humble, to have humility, and to be able to appreciate, being good enough and remain in humbleness, and know that I do make a difference and a contribution, and remain in humbleness. That's what is hugely important.
I can feel that. Thank you for touching my heart again.
Yeah, not to, especially with spiritual people or so-called spiritual people. So I tread those grounds very carefully. Yeah, yeah, very, very carefully. Power inebriates most people, not all, but most people, any form of power, whether it's mystical or not. Because fundamentally, power is power. And the mystical people have, and also in the human condition, we are not looking at them as mysticals in a different condition, but the human condition with the same vulnerabilities as you and I. The same, yeah. So I've seen that very early. I've seen its use and its abuse. I've experienced its use and abuse. I lived for years in an ashram. Yes, I didn't read it in a book. So yes, it's very important for me that people are also able to see my what do you call it? My no weaknesses. We used the word before.
Darkness?
Just, imperfections. Another word. No, another word for imperfection. I'm flawed. My flaws. For me, it's important that people see my flaws. I want them to see my flaws. Because if they don't see my flaws, they may take the good part out of proportion. And I don't want that. I want them to see me flawed. I am flawed. I am imperfect. And I think for me, that is a lot more inspiration there. Why? Because, Yana, between you and me, there is no difference. I don't have anything that you don't have. I don't have anything that you don't have. Everything you see in me lives in you. I'm not different than you. Maybe I've lived longer. Maybe I have different experiences. Maybe I thought them different. Maybe my attitude of mind may be different. But those are things learned. That's nothing that I have and you don't. There is absolutely nothing I have that you don't have, or anybody else for that matter. The mindset, yes, and you can learn that from me. I mean, I can talk for hours. I cough a while, and I can keep going on forever. You know, I can be the talking mystic. Just come in anytime. You know.
Yes.
The movie that never ends.
The movie that never ends. That's what I love about you the most, Eugenia. That's exactly it. That you and everything that you are represent has no beginning and no end to it. You're like that fragment of the existence, that never comes, never goes, never was born, never gonna die. It's just here. Right? This is exactly it. And I can just picture that probably until the very last moment, when you really have to leave the body, it's just gonna be you. You're just going to go and go and go, and then probably it's going to just happen like that. Boom. And that's it.
And the reason why I like the sound of my voice so much is because I'm learning.
Yeah.
I am my best teacher. So when you ask me things sometimes, I've never thought of the answer. You said, Eugenia may have thought a lot. No, I haven't. I just thinking on my feet, right here, right now. You ask me something nobody else asked me before, so I have to process it. And then I'm learning from myself because it's there in my head. It's all there. So I go put my gloves on, my boots, and I go in there with my little pail and start looking, put the stuff in the pail, and I bring it to you and give you an answer. And I have experience. I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience. Really, believe me. As I'm saying it, 1,000 images at the speed of the Japanese bullet train is going through my brain and it's showing me, ooh, all these things. And I said a lot of experience. Ooh, some more. A lot of experience. Ooh, some more. A lot of experience. I've been extremely adventurous and crazy and mad and risk taker and pushed envelopes to the limit and then lived 3 years in an ashram. I mean, meditated for hundreds of hours. You put it together in one pot. That means I have a lot of experience.
Yes. And I feel that maybe this is the secret. This is the secret to everything that is happening. And
yeah.
I also realize it's kind of funny to talk to you about time because I'm like, yes, we probably have to wrap it up slowly here. You have to go, I have to go. And I'm like, serious? We're talking about time? I mean, this is like the most bizarre words to bring up probably right now. But at the same time, for the, again, lack of the better word, we live in the world we live in. And this is what's happening around us. And even though I understand that you're going to stay forever because I'm going to remember you as long as I'm alive into this physical body. And there will be so many other people who I'm sure will be feeling in the same way in terms of keeping the memory that resonates with them the most. And so I know that from my perspective, you are a timeless being. And at the same time, we do have physical body, we have forms, we have paintings, we have walls, we have even you now still have things to do on your agenda and your calendar today, right? I heard some alarm going off with your phone, so probably you have to go. My family is knocking on the door. But I just want to say, Eugenia, I'm so incredibly grateful for this time that we spent here today together. And ironically, out of decades that I actually know you, that was probably the most real time, this hour together. And I'm going to really treasure that. So thank you.
My pleasure, my honor. Thank you.
Wow, what an interview it was. We laughed, we cried, we celebrated life and death in their totality. I am somewhat speechless right now, and yet, if I were to summarize what are my 3 biggest highlights from this episode, I would say number 1 is, it is not about me. We are all here to do what we are meant to do, and it absolutely requires us to put ego and fears aside. Number 2, I am enough and I am loved just as I am. People, let's go off that social conditioning that somehow we need to do something to be loved by others or even ourselves. It is such a big illusion. And number 3 is humility is the antidote to power. So relevant, especially to people who are thought leaders, teachers, change makers. We all have to remember that we are humans and here simply to serve the collective. Thank you, dear Eugenia, for all your wisdom and for being here with us today. Did you enjoy listening to this podcast? Do press the subscribe button, share this episode with friends, and consider to support us on the Patreon. Until next time, stay wild and be humble. До встречи!